Okay, dear students, so today I'll be discussing a very important topic, uh, socket programming. Okay, socket programming is available in other languages also, but what we are learning is the C language, and we already aware that Linux kernel is basically collection of C programs. Okay, so kernel or you may say operating system is coded in C language. Okay, and by doing the C socket programming in C language, we are going to get well acquainted that what are the things that we are actually doing when we are creating a socket. Okay, though socket programming some of you may have done in Java, some of you may have done in Python, but those are very abstracted. Okay, why? Because let me first tell you what exactly is the socket. Socket is exactly can be considered in the same way as we are using electric socket. Okay, so what exactly we are doing in the electric socket? We are attaching different applications. Sometimes we are attaching fan, sometimes we are attaching TV, sometimes we are attaching water geyser, sometimes some other appliances. Maybe you are using the same socket. Agreed? Agreed or not? Agreed. Okay. So similarly, what here we are doing is that in a computer also, we as a user, we make use of different applications. Okay. Since we are in the era of a smartphone, all of we are using a smartphone. So what we are doing, we are installing different applications for different purposes. So suppose sometimes you want to connect with the SMIT college, then you will install SMIT app. If you want to connect with SBI credit card, you will be installing appropriate apps. Sometimes you want to make a shopping through Amazon website, then you will be installing a Amazon application. Okay. Now, socket is a thing that is going to be used by all these applications to pass the data. Okay, so application is passing the data to TCP IP protocol suite, or you may say the network protocol stack using the socket. Now, this is also considered as abstraction. Why it is abstraction? Because once you have given the data to the socket, you just understand that this will reach to the destination. Just like electric socket, what is happening in the one end, supplier is passing the electric, and the other end receiver is getting the supply of electric power. Similarly, in the networking, in one end, sender is putting the data on the socket, on the other end, application is also attached with, receiver is also attached with the socket, and then through the socket data is received by the receiver. Okay, so one can understand that one is putting data in the socket and another is getting data from the socket. So that is what it is known as abstraction. But inside that there are several activities that they are taking place. So the internal details of the things that we have already learned will be also learning also. So that is how the socket is important. That's just I have introduced in abstracted way. Sender is giving the data to the socket, and receiver is getting data from the socket. And through the socket, the other network protocol stacks such as network layer, data link layer, and all, they are getting the data. So what is the job of the application? To give the data to the socket or write the data in the socket. Okay, so once the sender has written the data inside the socket, you need to understand that it will be received by the receiver. As if we have also done programming with pipe. So what we are doing, in the one end of the pipe, you are writing the data and you are assuming that the receiver will get the data from the other end. And both the ends are going to be represented by the file descriptor, if you remember my operating system class that I have taught in the last semester. So file descriptor will again come. Socket is also considered as a file, because I have already told you that in the Linux everything is considered as a file. Whether it is a pen drive, whether it is a hard drive, whether it is a other memory device, or whether it is anything, that all is considered as a file. So similarly, you are writing in socket means you are writing a file. If socket is a file, then it must be having a file descriptor as well. Okay, so this is what has been shown here. These are the things which is already known to you. Computer network is just a collection of different nodes that you already know. That nodes may be the host, maybe the hosts are also known as end host, and routers, packets. Okay, protocols, just like HTTP is a protocol. A protocol is just an agreement, or you may say the grammar or the set of rules through which communication will take place. Sender and receiver will understand the message of each other. Okay, so this is how the things are happening. What is the role of the TCP/IP protocol suite? Because once you have given the data to the socket, that means you have given your data to TCP/IP protocol suite, as I stated, network protocol stack, and then it will be transmitted through the protocol stack. Protocol stack I have taught you in the very beginning. What are the layers on the stack? You already know: application layer, transport layer, network layer, okay, and then data link layer and the physical layer. What are the responsibilities? Like formatting of data, giving the address, transmission, deciding the routes, okay, source and the destinations. Okay, so these are the things which is I am repeating that. I have shown this diagram, so I am just repeating, refreshing in the context of the socket. So see, the application to application data transfer. The FTP is one application, SMTP is another application, and they are transmitting data to the another host, okay, through SMTP or FTP protocol. Okay, below the application, we have transport layer. Transport layer, it is not only the two layers. Nowadays we have RTCP and other things. There are multiple variations, but yes, these are two elementary protocols. And if you talk about classical model, only these two are going to be there in your system, and most of the communication will take place through the TCP protocol. I have already told you that in case of TCP protocol, first of all you have to establish a connection, and then you can forward the data. But when destination is not known, as I stated, that DHCP server or ARP protocol, so in such situation the destinations are not known. If the destination is not known, we cannot run this TCP protocol. So in all such situations, we run a UDP protocol. What is the difference between TCP and UDP? in a nutshell, I'll be telling this is the core thing. This is a main important thing. What is that? TCP and UDP. TCP is a protocol where we keep track whether the data has been received by the receiver or not, in what order the data has been received, that all things are going to be ensured. But what is UDP? UDP is known as best effort delivery. What do you mean by best effort delivery? Best effort delivery means what we are doing is that if I am sending my data, then I assuming that it must have received by the receiver. I am not taking care whether the receiver is present, receiver is absent. I am not establishing any connection. I am just sending the data and assuming that the data must be received. So I am putting all my effort to transmit the data and thinking that there is an ideal situation, and not only the data is going to be received, the data is received in an orderly manner. Just I am giving you an example. If you are watching a movie, okay, and movie frames are coming from the server, the frames must be received in the order. If the out of order frames will be displayed, you just understand that what will happen to that movie. Okay, suppose first scene will come first and last scene will come last scene will come first and first scene will come later, then you understand that the problem. Okay, so the data, it is not only that the data is going to be received by the receiver, it should be received in a stream or in an order in which it is going to be sent. But UDP protocol does not ensure. What it thinks is that once I am sending the data and in order I am sending the data, it is going to be received by receiver in the same order. But TCP protocol does not do like that. What it does, it sends the data, it also wait for the acknowledgement. Once the TCP protocol ensures that packet number 1, 2, 3 is received successfully, then only packet number 4 is going to be sent. So this way we are also ensuring the order of the frames. Okay, now one may ask, sir, this is also happening there in the data link layer, where we are also doing the error detection and correction, and here also we are doing. What's the difference? Okay, so because error recovery, as I stated, the how do we do? If the data is not received, definitely the receiver will not acknowledge. Okay, if receiver will not acknowledge, the sender will automatically determine that the packet is lost or incorrectly received. Okay, I would also like to point it out that in a computer network there is no difference between if the data is received in incorrect data is received or data is lost. Both is considered similarly. Okay, suppose as a sender, if I send the data, okay, if I get the acknowledgement, that means data is received by the receiver in a correct format. If I do not receive the acknowledgement, then I understand the data is not received by the receiver in the correct format. But I do not exactly know what has happened with the data, whether the data has been lost in the medium or some bits are corrupted. That you are not going to come to know. Both are treated similarly. Okay, now here I just wanted to point it out that whatever we are doing in the error recovery or error correction at the data link layer, that is with respect to hop-to-hop delivery. That is with respect to hop-to-hop delivery. Okay, so just see, you can also see here. I'll just let me give some more time. Okay, so as I stated that it is a hop to hop delivery. Hop to hop delivery means you just see from source to destination we have different hops, like this is first hop, this is second hop, then third hop. Okay, and in between each hop it may be different technology, like I am sending the data. Okay, while I am sending the data, we are sending the data with Ethernet technology. Okay, in between that, like I just consider that hop A to B, hop to B Ethernet technology used, B to C, B to C satellite communication is used. Okay, C to D Ethernet technology is again used. Okay, it may so happen also, just for an example, that you are using Wi-Fi technology. Okay, so at Wi-Fi technology, then you first hop data you are sending with Wi-Fi. Okay, then the second hop to all is Ethernet. Okay, so this may happen like that. Okay, now what I mean to say is that hop to hop communication, the error checking, error detection and correction in hop to hop manner is a responsibility of the data link layer. Okay, so link layer is a responsibility that each hop has received the data correctly. That means this link will send the data and then it will receive an acknowledgement for that data. If acknowledgement data is there, and then the data is received correctly. Now, what we are talking about is that the TCP protocol and UDP protocol, transport layer protocol, that does not run in the intermediate routers. Okay, so intermediate routers which are responsible to forward the data from one hop to another hop, they are not using this layer. Okay, so these are I have already told you that they are only opening the packet up to network layer. Okay, so a transport layer and application layer, this data is only going to be opened where it is going to be used only at the sender machine and the receiver machine. Please try to understand once again that application is running where? In my mobile phone, and one application is also running at the receiver machine. That means your mobile phone. Let's say we are talking with mobile phone. Okay, so one application MS Team I am running. I am giving my data to application. That application is MS Team, and you are receiving the data through the same application because you are also running MS Team. In between that, the data is the intermediate nodes, they are not using any application. Okay, so applications is only running at the sender machine and the receiver machine. Intermediate routers are only opening the data up to network layer and then deciding the route of the packet. I would also like to tell that our data is still safe. Why? Because you may have learned about the secure socket layer. Okay, so secure socket layer means the application MS Team, while giving the data to the transport layer means while writing the data in the socket, TCP socket, the data is encrypted. So एप्लीकेशन से MS Team से डेटा निकलते ही वो इंक्रिप्ट हो गया. So there is no chance that my original data is going to be interpreted by the routers. Routers are only interested in the headers, not the payload. Payload means the actual data. Routers are not interested to read the actual data. Routers are only interested to read the headers, and headers will allow them to route it to the destination. As we know that the postmans are not interested in what is written inside the letter, they are only interested in the header. Header means the address, destination address, source address, and destination address, and they make use of destination address to deliver the letter to the intended person. The same way we use secure socket layer. So when we are sending data from application to transport layer, we are encrypting it. Okay, so that is how the network is working and making our data safe. Okay, and then once the data is written in the socket at the transport layer, then it is going to be okay. So socket is somewhere there in the application and the transport layer, and then we are putting the data, giving the data to the network protocol stack, and it is going to be received by the receiver. Now, as I stated that the error correction and detection we are doing at the each hop, here again, then again we are doing here. Okay, so that is the role of the data link layer. However, the applications running at different machines, they are also going to check whether they have received the data is in ordered manner or not. Okay, so transport layer first ensure that the data which is received by me is in ordered and the correct. Okay, then it will give it to the application. So the transport layer is again doing error detection and correction, but that is for end to end, or you may say host to host. Means once the data is delivered from source machine to destination machine, then again once again the data is verified for the error or not. Now there is another point that we need to keep in our mind, that when sender is sending the data, receiver is receiving the data, both need to be synchronized. However, in UDP, both are not synchronized. In case of TCP, both are synchronized. One may ask, sir, what do you mean by synchronized? What is the necessity of both the partners to be synchronized with each other? Okay, so here we need to keep in our mind that receiver should not be overwhelmed with the sender data. Now one may ask, what is overwhelming, sir? So how much data should I send to you? There should be some limit. Okay, now I'm just giving you an example. We are connecting with Google server or a YouTube server. So you may understand the power of these servers. They are having enormous power. Enormous power means they can send terabyte of data within a millisecond. But suppose I am running a machine which is a very old machine, and I am having a very limited RAM. Let's say my machine is having 1 GB RAM. Now this 1 GB RAM is already filled up, 75% of RAM is already filled up with the programs that I am running, operating system programs. Only 25% are left to run user specific programs. Okay, so I am having a very limited RAM in which I can receive the data. Now I am connected with a server which is having very high speed. So even the server will send data for 1 millisecond, I cannot accommodate the data. So synchronization is very essential. What is happening in the synchronization? I will tell, if time permits, I will tell you in the HTTP protocol also that sender and receiver are agreeing on that what is your potential. I am sending a data which is known as SYN, acknowledgement, and SYN. Okay, SYN means I am synchronizing with you. I am asking your potential. So you are giving your potential that I am having this much of buffer space, I am having this much of potential. So accordingly the sender will transmit the data. Okay, so sender will understand that receiver only have this much of buffer, so sender will always send the data less than the buffer size of the receiver, so that receiver should not be overwhelmed with the sender data. Okay, so this is how sender and receivers are different devices on the network having different capacity, but still they are successfully making a data transfer to be happen in a desired manner. So this is basically happening in TCP, but in case of UDP, you know that even UDP does not know that whether the sender is receiver is available or not. That it just sends the data. Okay, so it may be received, it may not be received, that it does not know. So that is why it is known as best effort delivery. We will be able to create both type of sockets. Okay, so though there are some more examples. Okay, but we generally create two types of socket for sending the data over the internet. At least on the internet we are creating two types of socket. One is TCP socket and other one is the UDP socket. TCP socket when we have to do reliable communication. Okay, when we have to when communication is considered as unreliable, when we are not ensuring that whether the receiver is available or not, whether the receiver is receiving the data or not. So that is known as best effort delivery. That is done by the UDP. Okay, so this is all about two types of socket, host to host communication, and difference between error correction and error detection at the data link layer and at the TCP layer. Okay, so error correction and detection is happening where? It is happening at the transport layer as well as at the data link layer. Okay, but what is the difference? Here it is end to end, or you may say process to process, and here it is hop to hop. Okay, so hop to hop, this is the difference. Okay, now we'll move forward. We have understood several things. Okay, okay, so this is what has been depicted in best effort delivery. Just see, this is best effort delivery, normal post when we do not know whether it will be received or not. When we are sending the packet with a speed post, we can verify, we can check by through the tracking portal where it has been received, whether it is received or not. Addresses we already know. Yes, here as I stated that we need to understand about the port numbers. Port numbers we already know that all the applications running having a specific port number. Okay, application specific port number. Why I am discussing? Because port number is very important when we are creating the socket. Okay, so port number is very essential things. In many books you will see that the socket is basically a combination of IP address and the port number. Okay, so means when we create a socket, these two essential things are required: IP and port. Okay, apart from that, you just need to know about whether it is UDP socket or whether it is TCP socket. Okay, so basically three important things that we need to know when we are making a data transmission through the socket. First is that what is the IP address, okay, and then second is what is the port number, okay, and then third is the whether it is reliable communication, unreliable communication. That means whether it is TCP socket or whether it is a UDP socket. In case of UDP, user datagram protocol, no acknowledgement, no retransmission, no acknowledgement, no retransmission. Best step per delivery. Once I have sent, I understood that it must have been received by the receiver. Okay, it may once I have sent the data, it may be received out of order, duplicate possibility, that we are not taking care. Okay, we are thinking that it will be received by the receiver in ordered way, but we are not taking any measure for out of order delivery, duplicate possibility, or we are not doing even retransmission. But in case of TCP, yes, reliable byte stream channel in order, all arrive, no duplicate, similar to file input output. So as I stated that we send some data, let's say packet 1, packet 2, packet 3, and then we receive for acknowledgement. Okay, once I get the acknowledgement for packet number 1, packet number 2, packet number 3, then subsequent transmission will take place. Okay, so that is how it is in order delivery. And then we go for flow control. Flow control, as I stated, that the receiver should not be overwhelmed with the data of sender. So that is known as flow control. So flow of data must be in the controlled manner. And just giving an example, if water flow is coming and your bucket is considered as a buffer, cannot store all the water, then there will be overwhelming. Okay, so water will spill out from your bucket, and then that situation may be considered as a overwhelming situation. So that should not be taking place. So that is why we have adopted flow control mechanism. Who will do the TCP protocol have already a mechanism of flow control. How? I'll be teaching later on. Okay, so this is connection oriented also. As I stated that first it will establish a connection and then do the data transmission. It is bidirectional. Okay, yes, correct. Okay, bidirectional means both can transmit and receive the data. These are few examples that how sockets are working. UDP protocol 53 socket number is used for DNS lookup. Okay, FTP protocol uses TCP. Okay, so the protocols are fixed, that which protocol will use which transport layer protocol, means which application. Okay, so if you are running DHCP protocol, okay, so DHCP request must be running UDP protocol. I have already told. Okay, similarly, if you are running a DNS lookup, lookup means you have the URL, but you want to know the IP address. How do you know the IP address? You have to run a DNS query. Okay, then you have to run UDP protocol because you do not know who will resolve. Okay, so this sort of things are there. Similarly, the FTP protocol, HTTP protocol, POP3 protocol. For every protocol, we have a specified port number. Okay, so even if you are not mentioning, your operating system is already well aware that if it is the FTP protocol, it should be using this port number. Why? Because it is fixed by the INA it is hard coded in your operating system. Everybody knows that network protocol stack is already aware. Okay, because these are standard. Apart from that, if you want, you have to take an extra measure for that. Okay. So this is what has been given. The socket are also of multiple types, as I stated, because you may be knowing also that in India, you are using a socket standard and you are attaching appliances, but the same type of socket may not be available in Europe. Okay, so similarly, sockets are also of different types. Main standard socket is known as Berkeley socket. Okay, so universally, that is why it is known as universal socket. It is abstraction through which an application may send and receive the data, provides generic access to inter-process communication services, a standard API for networking. So this is what it is known as a standard, because it is going to be used on the internet also. So we will also see that to students, like here we are attending classes, I will teach you that two of the students may create your socket in your machine and can talk to each other over the internet by creating this Berkeley socket, because this is a standard socket. Okay, so in the if you have created a socket, in one side one student will write the data in the socket, in the other side another student will get the data. Okay, and here you are not attaching an application because you have developed the socket program. In the socket you are directly writing some message. Okay, you are not involving any application. As a programmer, you are directly writing, putting data on the socket, and as a programmer, the other student is receiving. So that I will also teach you the program. Okay, so you just see that application is writing data in the socket, and through socket it is using TCP IP protocol suite, and then it is finally kept on the channel, and then router is giving the route, and finally data is received, okay, at the receiver and receiver socket, and receiver socket is giving data to the specific application. Okay, so this is a generic type of thing. Here it has been given some attributes of the socket which can uniquely identify a socket. Is an internet address, that means IP address, as I already stated, and then you have to tell whether you are creating TCP or UDP socket, and then port number. Three important things I have already told you when you are creating a socket. Okay, now a socket must be having a file descriptor which is greater than 2, because 0 is given for the standard input, 1 is for a standard output, 2 is for a standard error. So whatever new file you are creating, it must be getting a number 3 onwards. So you are creating a socket, that means it may be having a number given by kernel, and that must be 3 or 4 or 5, must be 3 or greater than 3. Okay, now stream socket means the data is received in a ordered way. The stream of a flow will always remain intact. This is happening in case of TCP. Okay, in datagram we are not ensuring that. Okay, so this is what has been seen. You need not to go into the internal detail. What you have to do, you just have to write the your data to the socket, and then it is going to be received. Okay, now as a programmer we have to know the internal things. Okay, so now we are going to break the inside a story. Okay, how we are going to create that. So we are going to break the box. Okay, so these are the internal details. Okay, so while you are creating a server socket, okay, so server socket is no more difference. Just we are putting the socket in a passive mode, so that it should be waiting for the client, okay, to making a request. Okay, so normally what happens is that we create a socket, we give an IP address, and then we put the socket in the hold so that it should receive the connection request. How we will see with the help of the program. Okay, so but you just understand that server is one which is passively waiting for a response to client. Means suppose I am a server, I am listening passively. Now once a request will come, like suppose you are a client, then you are making any active, so you are supposed to activate me by asking questions or making a connection request. Okay, so basically client initiates a communication, must know the address and the port number of the server. So you can only initiate a connection if you know my IP address and the port number. Okay, so that that is known as active sort of thing. Here the sum of the activity is represented with the system calls. Okay, so these are the examples of the system calls. What do you mean by the system calls? You know that the system calls are interface or a service point through which we can ask to kernel services. Okay, so or we can give command to the kernel to perform a specific activities. Okay, so I am directly as a socket programmer, if you are writing a socket program in C, we are directly interacting with the kernel of the system, because you are directly invoking the system calls. Okay, so first system call is socket. This is just to create a new communication endpoint. Okay, like we create a electric socket. Similarly, if we invoke a socket system call, you can create a socket. जैसे बाजार से एक लाते हैं ना इलेक्ट्रिक सॉकेट, उसी तरह से you can create your own socket just by invoking a system call. Now once you have just created the socket, then you have to bind. Bind means you have to assign an IP address to that socket using bind system call. So bind system call gives the IP address of the socket. How we will see in the programs, but just understand that first we are creating a socket using socket system call, and then bind system call is used to assign an IP address to that socket. What IP address I'll give? Suppose I am creating a socket, then my local machine IP address will be given to that socket. The IP address of my machine will be given to that socket. Okay, so attaching an address, that it doesn't mean that you are giving the destination address. No, you are giving your address. So because this is your socket, the socket which is created at your machine. Okay, now once you have done that IP address given, then you will announce willingness to accept the connection. Okay, so now you are going in the listening mode. Okay, so I can listen the connection request, and then if I am ready to listen, then I'll block myself. Okay, up to what time? Till the time a request is coming from the client. So please try to understand the analogy. Created a socket, given an IP address, and then I'm going in the listening mode. Once I'm ready to listen the connection of the client, I will block myself. Block myself up to what time? Till the time we are not receiving any request from the client. So as a server, now I am going in the waiting state. Accept. Waiting state means I have blocked myself until what? Not receiving any connection request. Now the client will make a connection with the server. Okay, so this is basically done by the actively attempt to establish a connection. This is done by the client. not by the server. Server is waiting. So client will make a connection request, then client may send some data also, then server will receive the data, and accordingly server will also may send the data. So send receive will be now, once the connection is established, send receive bi-directional communication will take place. Okay, so anyone can write the data in the socket that is going to be received by the receiver. So if client will send, it will be received by the server. If server will send, it is going to be received by the receiver. And this is close. Close means you have to release the connection. So close is same as we have taught in the operating system. You are closing a file descriptor. That means you are closing the socket. Okay, so you are destroying the file descriptor. Okay, so this is the again what has been shown, the client server communication using stream or using datagram. Stream means ordered delivery. Ordered delivery means TCP, and otherwise datagram. Your unordered delivery may also happen. I am just sending whether the packet is received in ordered manner or unordered manner, that we are not sure. We are not taking care of. Okay, so just see that what are the system calls which are invoked at the server machine. Socket, creating a socket, bind, assigning an IP address, listen, okay, to passively going in a listening mode, and accept, that means I have blocked myself and I will remain in the blocked until and unless a connection request will come from the client. Once the connection request will come, then I'll unblock myself and I'll try to service that specific client. Suppose all of a sudden I get 5 different requests. Okay, so all requests may be served one by one manner. Okay, so the server may be capable to service 5 clients. Okay, so all clients must be blocked in a queue. Okay, so I have received your request, okay, but you remain in the queue. You may be serviced in a one by one manner. Okay, because as a server I have to provide a service, and I am not dedicated to provide a service to a single client. Client may be multiple. Okay, single server may be providing services to multiple server. Okay, so these are the things. There are several variations also of the server. Okay, that we may see. Okay, but yes, normal process is that now receive send is going on in infinite loop. Okay, so communication will take place. Both the sockets are ready. Okay, and communicate with each other until both are going to be closed. So this is TCP. So TCP we have to establish a connection and then we have to do the data transmission. But in case of UDP, these are not there. You just have to create a socket. Both side is equal. Client and server both is equal. There is no difference between client and server. Okay, because client is also pushing data towards the server. Similarly, server is also putting data towards the client, and both are not aware of each other. They are just sending the data. Okay, so socket is created, IP address is given, socket is created, IP address is given. Now receive from, okay, send to receive from, send to receive from. So here basically I just wanted to tell you, please listen here carefully. while we are sending and receiving the data, we are not mentioning IP address or port number. But in case of send to or receive from, we are mentioning that we should receive from which host. IP address and port number must be mentioned. Send to also, you must be mentioning that you are sending to whom, IP address, and this is mentioned. Why? Because here you have not established a connection. Here we have established a connection and then data transmission is happening. So we need not to mention the IP address and other detail, because data will go to whom I have already established a connection. Here in case of UDP, I have not established a connection. So every time I have to mention that this data is meant for which particular machine. Okay, I think it is clear, but still if you have doubt, you please ask. Okay, no doubt. Then I am moving forward. This is just how to create a socket. Okay, so as I stated that these are the system calls. Okay, now I am just teaching you how to make use of these system calls. Okay, so what are the arguments that you have to give? Okay, that means how to use. Okay, so just see that here the socket ID. Socket I am going to create. First argument is the family, second argument is type, and third argument is protocol. Now, family means you are going to create a socket of which family? PFINIT means IP version 4 protocol is typically used. So you must write here PFINIT. Why? Because you are going to create an internet socket or Berkeley socket. If you are going to create PF Unix socket or other family socket, so just for an example, PF Unix socket stands for local communication. Local communication means both the processes must be in the same machine. So here socket is what? It is a mechanism of inter-process communication. The processes are residing on the remote machine. Just for an example, MS Team I am running in my computer, and MS Team you are running in your computer. Both are sitting at remote places, but still we are talking. Okay, so socket is making us enable the two processes sitting at remote locations, they can communicate with each other. But also we have a flexibility that we can create a local socket. One may ask, sir, why do we need to create a local socket? Because sometimes we need to do the inter-process communication within the machines. Okay, so in that case, you can also use a local socket. You need not to create an internet socket or PF family socket. Okay, as of now you just understood that. So first family, in place of family you can write PFINIT or PF Unix. In place of type you can write sock stream or sock datagram. When to sock stream? If you need to create a TCP socket. Sock datagram when you need to create a UDP socket. So it is up to you. Okay, now if you are creating a TCP socket, and the last you just write IP proto underscore TCP, or you can write IP proto UDP. And normally when I make a program, I give third argument as a 0. Why? Because this gives you flexibility to choose a default protocol, because in the type I have already given sock stream. So sock stream stands for TCP socket. So TCP socket automatically it will create IP proto TCP. So third, in place of protocol, you can write 0 and default will be automatically filled up. I think it is okay to creating a socket. Now, what is the return type? The return type is socket ID. Basically, this is the file descriptor. Okay, so socket, as I stated that everything in Unix is a file, so socket also is a file. What is the ID or a file descriptor for that? This is going to be stored in this particular, the return type is this. I would also like to remind you that any system call returns negative value when it becomes unsuccessful. Means when you are creating a socket, if there is an error, then it returns -1. Otherwise, it will return positive. So if it is giving a positive value, that means socket is created and the number assigned must be 4, 5, 6, 3 onwards. Okay, so this is socket I have created. Now next, how to assign an IP address to that socket, created socket. Sorry, socket is created, assigning an IP address. Now this is only for creating and close. So socket is created with this ID, and if I do not require, I can close. Okay, so this is the way how to close. Okay, so these are some families which is given, socket address, something like that. You will be teaching in not today. I'll be describing it later on. You just go through it. I'm keeping it for your reference. Okay. So this is I have created a socket. Now bind will assign an IP address. Okay, so just see that sock ID is going to be given as an argument. So what is sock ID? The sock ID is the ID given to that, or the number given to the socket that I have created. Just see, this is the return type, sock ID. So the socket that I have created, for that I am binding it to address. I'm assigning basically an address. As I stated that I'm giving an IP address. So I'm giving not only an IP address, I am giving IP and port. Okay, so this is basically IP and port I have given, address and port. Now, what is address port? This is the address port. SOC address. What is this? This is AFINIT and then family specific address. Okay, so this address I am giving it to that. So this is having everything, like just see the what is the family, means whether it is a internet socket, AFINIT, PFINIT is for the local Unix socket, and then port number, and then SYN address. SYN address means if it is internet address, what should be the internet address? You already know the IP address of 32 bits is going to be given. So this is what I am giving the address as an argument, address as an argument. So everything is inside that. Everything is inside that. Nothing to worry. I will show you the program also. Then it is more clear to you. Okay. And then this is the size. Size means size of this particular address port, because you are giving everything in this. So everything in this means this is in a structured format. This is an object of a structure. This is an object of a structure. So this object basically referring to what? Referring to everything, family, port, address, everything. Okay, so this particular thing is, if it is everything, then what is the size of this object that is there? Just see size in bytes of address port structure. Okay, and if it is successful, it returns definitely some positive. Negative it is returning means there is some error in this binding the socket with this address. So what is the socket? Socket is having an ID this, and this is the address given to that. Okay. Okay. So now moving forward, this is just an example how to write the program structure. Socket address in, address port. Okay. Socket address in, socket address in. You just see socket address in. This is socket address in. What is this? SYN family, SYN port, SYN address. This is. So this is a structure I have created. Now this structure, sock address in, address port. So this is an object of this structure. Address port is an object of this structure. So this can hold 3 values. So this object address port dot SYN family AFINIT or PFINIT, address port dot SYN port. Now one may ask, sir, what is the meaning of H tones? Okay, so this is basically a type conversion. Okay, so this is 5100 is numeric value. Numeric value you have to convert it in the port address. Okay, so port address is written in what format? Unsigned sort. This is the so if you have to convert in unsigned this, then you have to apply H tones. A numeric value is going to be converted in this and then given to that. Similarly this, okay, address is also going to be converted and assigned to this structure. Just a minute, I have to, hello, हाँ सर बोलिए. नहीं सर क्लास ले रहा हूँ. अच्छा 11:20 में. ठीक है, मैं क्लास फिनिश करके ज्वाइन करता हूँ सर, नो प्रॉब्लम. Okay, so these are the important things that how to basically create a socket and bind an address. So we have created a socket, then this address is given to this object. So this object is basically referring to 3 addresses: IP address, port number, and the address family. Okay, so one argument is representing 3 different things. Okay, so this is, I am binding my socket with 3 addresses. Okay, and this is what we have to do. Okay, and this is the size of this object. Now please raise your doubt. If you are getting any doubt, I am very clear. I am thinking that you are very comfortable with the code. But yes, I'm also sure that when we are first time I was learning, I was very scared about these things. But slowly and gradually I get acquainted, and the things are very easy for me. For me, these are very easy. Okay, but yes, since you are learning first time, it may be difficult. Just revisit and try to understand. Even if you get a problem, you can come again with me and discuss. Okay, now moving forward, this is about binding datagram socket, stream socket. In both the cases, we just have to change the family and we have to write sock stream. Okay, we have to write sock datagram depending upon the socket that you are looking to create. Then we can send, receive. While send and receive, we are not giving the address parameter, because where to send is already fixed, because we have already received the connection. So where I am writing in this socket. Please try to understand. Send. Where to send? Send. I have to send a message in the socket. So where is the socket? This socket ID is representing the socket. Why? Because this is the file descriptor of the socket. Okay, so if I have to write something in the file, I just need a file handle. What is the file handle? File descriptor. So if I know the file descriptor, I can write. What to write? This message. This message will be written in the socket. What is the length of the message? This is the fourth argument, and this is the flag. Okay, now what is flag? Integer a special option, usually just 0. Okay, so this is basically representing that what exactly you are writing. Okay, normally you can keep the by default you can keep the flag 0. Okay, the calls are blocking, so once it is going to be called, it until unless it is complete message is written in the socket, it is going to be blocked. Once the message is written in the socket, then again it will become unblocked. So this is how you can use. Okay, big Indian, this I am not going to use. Now I am moving toward the hard code. Directly I am moving toward the code. Just a minute. Just a minute. I think the code is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just look into the code. I am just increasing. These are the what is called headers. Okay, so you are using socket, so you have to write system socket.h. You are using system types. Okay, so you already know that when Unix supports multiple data structure like sort, int and all, then or sock length t. So these type of data structure, if you are using, you must write system types.h. Okay, now netint you have to include, and then uni standard you already know, exit and all is supported. NetDB not required. Stereo.h, string.h, this is arpa.init. You may give, you may not give, that's not a big deal. Okay, so these are the things that we have given in headers, and then we are creating the socket. Okay, this is what we are, this is how we are creating the socket. The first argument is family, second argument is what? UDP socket, and third I have given 0. 0 is by default, it's take by default value, and then it is going to be created. B0 you may not give, you may give. What it is doing is that the server address is basically filled up with just I'm initializing with 0. Now one may ask, sir, what is server address? Server address is just, you just say with this structure I have created 2 objects. Okay, now what is server address, what is client address? The server address is the address of the local machine, because this program is with respect to UDP server. So this is server address. That means the address of the local machine. What is the client address? Client address is the address which may belong to a client which is making a request to me. Okay, so I have created a socket, and then I have bind it with an address. What address? Server address is my local address, so I have added. Now what is basically the server address? I have initialized the server address. I first of all I have mentioned the family, then I have given an address. Okay, here especially a hard coded address also I can write 172 dot 23 dot 25 dot 14 also we can write. That also I will teach you. But I am writing IN address any. This is because this is automatically it will take an address of your machine. Address of your machine. Okay. Otherwise, you can also write directly the address as I stated that hard coded. But you have to use, then in that case you have to convert this using HTON things you have to apply, and then you have to write the IP address, and then you have to. Okay, so this also you can do. You can see the various programs on the internet, and then here you just see that I have written the port number. Now, what is the port number? Port number I have written 50335. Okay, so I have just randomly assigned a port number because I am not going to use a standard application, because I am directly going to write the data in the socket. Okay, not using a standard application. So I have given a non-standard number for that, which must be greater than 1024. That is already known to you. I have already told you. Okay, now we have bind with that address. So 3 addresses are going to be represented by single object. Single object. This is the address. Okay, bind, and then waiting for the client message. Because this is UDP server, so we need not to do the listen and all those things. Okay, now we are putting it in the while loop. Okay, so that it should always be there in the receiving mode. Now whatever the data that is going to be received from the socket, from where? From the socket FD, message is going to be stored in MSG, and then maximum line means the length of the message, and this is the from where you are supposed to receive. This is the address of the client, and this is the length of the client address. Okay, so this is how we are, but initially we do not know that what is the client address. So from wherever the request will come, that is going to be stored in the client address. From wherever the data will be coming to UDP server, and that is going to be stored in the client address. So we will come to know that what is the client address, what is the IP and port, that we can extract it from this structure. Okay, and then we can just get the message, and then we can send the message back to the client. That means I have received a message from the client. After reading the message, I can give my response to the same client. Okay, so that is why I have written sock FD. Okay, and then I'm writing as a address as a client address. So here the fourth argument I'm using as a client address. So this to the same client I'm sending the message back, or you may say I'm giving my response. Similar thing is happening there in the UDP client, except we need not to bind. Okay, bind operation is not required. You just look into that this is the UDP client. You have just created a socket. Okay, and without binding, we have just sent the data. Just send the data. Create a socket. Okay, and then initialize the address where you want to send, and then you just send. You must be knowing the address of the server. You just see that INET address. So here it is 127.0.0.1. This is a loopback address. Loopback address means this is representing to same machine. but it is not required. I am just telling you that two student may do this program. One will become server, another one will become client. Okay. Now, suppose you are a client, then you must write the IP address of the server machine. So in first attempt, you run client and server in your own machine. If you are unable to do, sorry, if you have successfully done it, then you move towards the internet socket. Internet socket means server will be let's say student A, and client will be a student B. So a student B will be writing the IP address of student A, and then the message will be given to that. What is the message? It is going to be copied here, send line. Okay, enter the message, whatever the message will be sent. Okay, so that is going to be written in the socket. So whatever client will write, it is received by the receiver. Whatever server, whatever server will write, it is going to be received by the receiver. So that client machine may be executed in one client code will be executed in one machine. Server code will be executed in another machine, and both can communicate to each other. This possibility is there. So first of all, just look into these codes. The codes are already available in your MS Team. PPT is also available. Just first of all, you just do the reading assignment, and you try to implement in your machine, local machine, with this address, loopback address. Once successfully done, then two students can do together. One can become server, one can become client. Okay, so just start with UDP because this is more easy compared to TCP. However, codes are always almost similar. There is slight change in TCP and UDP. Okay, so in case of TCP, you have to establish a connection. In case of UDP, you need not to create a connection. So that is only the difference in the code. And here you are using send to function. There we will use direct send and receive, or read and write also you can use. You can directly use read and write. So you can read something from the socket, you can write something in the socket. Okay, like you have done read and write operation in a file. Similarly, you can do read and write operation in a socket. Okay, so in operating system, I have already taught you how to do read and write operation in a file. So this is the last practical example. You have to do TCP, implement TCP and UDP socket, and that is the end of our experiment. So with that, I am finishing. If you have any question, please raise your question. I will also suggest you some online terminal where you can execute the code. However, if you have Linux installed in your local machine, then you can do with that. Okay, so since there is two programs, both needs to be executed parallelly. So in one terminal, you will be running a server program. In the another terminal, you will be running a client code. Try to do it. Not able to do, then I'll demonstrate definitely. Okay. So I will join again maybe tomorrow, and I'll start with this session, lab session, because today I'll be busy with some meeting from 11 to 1, so I may not be able to cover up your session up to 12. But yes, tomorrow again we will meet and I'll ask your difficulty, and accordingly I will try to solve. Though I have given the code, I have given the theory, PPT is already uploaded, UDP code is already uploaded, TCP code you have to develop your own. Okay, I am not going to give that code also. But yes, first of all, you implement UDP. Just show me the your execution, and then we will move towards the TCP. So now I'll be asking for attendance. Okay, respond your name, please. Akashdeep,
Present, sir.
Abhichandra,
Present, sir.
Abhijit Chhetri.
Present, sir.
कर सकते हो प्रोग्राम?
Yes, sir. I'll try, sir.
Okay, okay. So I'll again ask you tomorrow. Even tomorrow there is only a theory class, but still I'll ask about it. And if you are not able to do, then I'll execute and I'll demonstrate. Okay, nothing to worry. If you are able to do, it's well and good. Not able to do, then I'll demonstrate. Okay, Abhinandan, Abhishek, Abhin,
Yes, sir.
Aishwarya,
Present, sir.
Anisha, Anisha, Devanjita,
Yes, sir.
Dheeraj,
Present, sir.
Divyani,
Present, sir.
Madhav,
Yes, sir.
Manisha,
Yes, sir.
Mingama,
Present, sir.
Norbu,
Present, sir.
Nunita,
Present, sir.
Purva,
Present, sir.
Prasanna,
Present, sir.
Rajat,
Sir.
Sahil,
Yes, sir.
Samten,
Present, sir.
Sarat,
Present, sir.
Sharon,
Present, sir.
Sisam,
Present, sir.
Sujata,
Present, sir.
Urgen,
Present, sir.
Rohit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you please try to implement the code. Okay, if you have Linux installed, it is well and good. Otherwise, you can try individual codes in the JS Linux. You can also search on the internet where a client server program can be executed. Okay, terminal, there are various terminals which is available online. You first search on your own skill, and then if you are unable to do, then definitely I'll help. Okay, so with that I am finishing my class and I'm ending meeting here. Okay, thank you all. Just fourth semester, please wait for some more time. Okay. Other can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, 7th July. Okay. Tanuja,
Present, sir.
Yukta.
Present, sir.
Okay. You can also leave. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you.